So today's the 16th. I'm recording a little early, just to be on the safe side because our girlfriend's birthday is coming up, and I don't want to be like, oh, I recorded way late, so I'm recording a little early because I usually record on the 18th for the trans vlog. Um, my transition has had some ups and downs quite a bit. Um, I have had like positive things and really, really negative things happening with my transition over the last month. Um, I haven't been able to get through to my local Social Security Administration office at all. Every time I call, it's just like, go through the prompts and then the cheesy music, and then it just rings and rings and rings until it finally hangs up. No one ever picks up during all that ringing, and no one ever picks up during all the music. I've started looking at other Social Security Administration offices, hoping that I can get through to one of them better, because my local one just seems impossible to reach a person for some reason. I don't know what else to do in regards to my name change. I can't help that I can't get to somebody. So that's a frustrating thing because I pretty much dread making the call because it's a giant waste of time, and it's frustrating. Um, and it just adds to the frustration every time. So, you know, what do you do? Um, I positively, though, have felt some changes in my body again for the first time in a long time. I've been on testosterone for a while now, um, over a year, and a year. I started on the 18th of December, not last year, but the year before. So, however, a year and like 4 months, something like that. Anyway, the point is, um, oddly, this month I've been like, you know, messing around with the arm weights my brother got me, and you would think that that would put on like a little muscle or whatever. I have not been doing anything cardio of any kind, and I haven't changed like my eating, um, but I am like losing weight, and as I'm losing weight, I'm noticing that I'm also looking different, like up here in the shoulders and in the neck and arms area and stuff. So, that whole body recomposition thing that supposedly happens or whatever that I was supposed to get a while ago, um, it might actually be happening. I don't want to like get my hopes up, but it's been pretty consistently like a noticeable difference for like a couple of weeks now. So it's like, where did this come from? Why is this happening? I don't know. But that's a positive thing. That's a good thing. I'm um, I'm definitely noticing a little bit of a difference in the way that I'm shaped. And it's subtle, so it's hard to gauge how much is changing, but it's definitely changing. Like I feel like my face also, instead of like coming down like this and then going out and then going like this, it's definitely more of like a straight line down and a straight two straight lines like this, um, going on as well. It's like a almost a more squared shape instead of like rounded. Um, that's been happening as well. And then like there's definitely like more like this and then like this going on instead of it all being like a straight line up in here. And then like when I put my arms like this, like the chest and the arms, the way that they're connecting are definitely more like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's definitely more masculine feeling. um Even the way that my like belly fat is laying, which obviously I have belly fat, even the way that it's laying though is slightly different, and I don't know how to explain it. I I don't know how to express it that well, but there's something happening in my body. Um, I've been a lot more tired the last couple of days, and um, like just craving protein. So I feel like some some sort of body recomposition must be happening or whatever, and that never happened for me really. There was a slight change. I lost about an inch off my hip, and then I lost like a little bit up here, and it moved down to my belly. Um, but there really was almost nothing. It was less than even half an inch everywhere that wasn't my hip. I might have lost more off my hip. I don't know. I haven't really looked at that, but I'm just saying it's there's definitely something happening, and it took a long time to happen, but hey, I will take it. Hopefully it continues. Hopefully, whatever's improving continues to improve. That would be nice. I would like that, but I didn't do anything special to cause it. It just sort of happened. I can't begin to figure what would have caused this. So, um, yay, but also, you know, um, I kind of needed it because it's been a little rough. My paperwork and everything for my surgery, I thought it got finalized back in November, and that I was waiting 60 to 90 days, like they told me, for my consult. And instead, it got to where it was like, hey, it's been 90 days. So I reached out to my surgeon's assistant, and she's like, oh, well, we didn't get the amended paperwork. And I'm like, what? Why wouldn't you have told me that? Like, I still don't understand why they wouldn't have told me that this entire time. It was very frustrating because I thought I was just waiting for my surgery and that it was the pandemic's fault. And instead, uh, they never told me at all. And so, of course, I contacted my old therapist from New York, same day. She fixed it same day. Sent it by fax, two different fax numbers, and mailed it in the mail. And of course, the lady wasn't there. She went out until Tuesday, so I called Tuesday, and she said she got it, and my chart was on the surgeon's desk, but there was at least 20 people ahead of me, and the surgeon was only doing 2 surgeries a week because of the pandemic. And so it would probably be like 7, 8 months before I get my surgery. And that was extremely hard to hear because I did everything right, and B, I really, really, really thought I was going to get top surgery before I turned, right before my birthday, which is in October, and that's not looking like it's going to happen. And that's pretty devastating to hear because um, every single month that I don't start on the surgeries feels like another month just living in someone else's body in someone else's life. It doesn't feel right at all, and I desperately just want to get through the surgeries and get to the other side of them and just exist, and I can't do that, and it frustrates me so much because I did everything right, and there's no reason why I shouldn't have been able to have my surgery. Um, it's very upsetting for me. Um, I was hoping that I could get through all my surgeries and everything and be finalized with stuff by like 43, and it's not looking like that is really possible, and that's a really really horrible feeling. And what to do about it. So, so frustrating. I did message my I did message to my state for a list of covered bottom surgery surgeons for phalloplasty for the state for Medicaid because I have Medicaid and they have emailed me back. I have to sign into a thing to see the email because it's a secure email because it's from the government or whatever. So I'm gonna try to figure out how to do that. But other than that, it should be a list, and then I can look at all those surgeons and everything involved in everything. And I'm gonna try to start scheduling consults because consults are at least a year out. Some of them are 2 or 3 years out, and I need to feel like I'm doing something. And no matter how hard I try, no matter what I do, everything feels like it's at a stagnation, and it's not any of it because of me, which is the frustrating part on top of frustration is is I'm putting in effort and it's not making anything manifest or whatever, however you want to say that. It hard work does not always pay off. Sometimes you're just doing it in vain until finally you beat the odds. Um, it is life. um, but I I'm trying to do something. I'm trying. If I can't make top surgery start happening, maybe somehow magically I can make bottom surgery start happening. I don't know why I think that, but I'm trying because I'm trying. Um, it's just feels horrible. It feels really, really horrible. And I didn't go off on anyone or anything like that. Like, I'm not that person. I don't get mad at people. I don't think that she was maliciously trying to keep me from getting surgery or anything like that. I think she just didn't even think of it. And it sucks because I'm just a random patient. I really don't matter to her, but this will matter to me even when I'm like old and gray. Like, this will be something I still think about even then and will be life changing for me. And that doesn't really mean anything to her. It doesn't really mean anything to most doctors in my experience. The majority of them don't think about that at all. Um, it sucks. I I'm just so frustrated because it sucks. It is. I don't want to be dismissive at all of any trans experience. I have trans friends. I'm not trying to be that way at all. But it sucks because being intersex is somewhat dismissed as just being trans. And it happens a lot of the time, even though there's a medical reason behind the transition. And it's hard for me to know that this entire time I've been male, but I can't function as a male. I can't have sex as a male. I can't walk around in society and not get misgendered sometimes. I have been born with characteristics from both sexes, and they're all deformed. None of them are fully like optimal or whatever. And as much as someone might say, "Oh, you're transitioning because you were never actually a boy," if you're going to say that, you also have to recognize that I was never actually a girl. I've never had a single girl part that was normal. And it's horrible to be male and not be able to be male. I don't know how to explain that better, um, except that that's literally what it is. And I feel very bitter sometimes about how much of my life has been lost, and that I might start be getting gray hairs by the time that I'm through with the surgeries enough to actually just exist as myself. And it's extremely difficult for me to know that I will never have a young man's experience or a young guy's experience at all, even though I was a boy, even though my internal organs were boy. It doesn't matter. I'm still treated like I have like a mental illness or something. My organs don't matter to a lot of people, and they don't matter to the system. And I sometimes wish I did have a normal trans experience, because I sometimes feel like it would be less cruel, and I know that's not true at all, and that's why I say I don't want to be dismissive, because every trans friend I have has gone through so much pain, and I'm not disregarding that in any way. It's just it's almost like they get to start with a clean slate and go from scratch, and I'm like tortured by this between spot, this ambiguous androgyny thing, and I don't get to be able to fit. And sometimes I feel like I'm an imposter everywhere, even in like trans group. I feel like I'm an imposter. I feel like I'm an imposter in my own life. And I don't have any control over fixing it. And so much of my life I just wanted to know what was wrong with me, and why everything didn't work, and why I couldn't make friends, and why I was a monster, what was wrong with me. And I thought there would be so much relief in knowing what was wrong, and I was right. There was so much relief when I could finally come to terms with why all of that happened and what was wrong the whole time. But it is terrible to know exactly what is wrong with something, exactly what needs to be done about it, and not be able to do it. To like literally just have your hands shackled. I feel like a lot of trans friends that I have, a lot of their transition is satisfied with just like top surgery or things like that, and as long as they can actually feel like they fit in, they're good. And I don't feel like I can fit in with just a top surgery, because that's not who I am. And I don't understand if say a GI, you know, accidentally steps on a landmine or something and their penis gets blown off. They get a surgery, a reconstructive surgery that's considered fully medical. But if I am born with characteristics of both sexes, I'm still considered to have a mental illness. And I don't understand why my deformity is so vastly different. I don't understand. I feel like I just want to exist. I just want to have normal, everyday, average experiences, and instead they're all warped. They're all me settling for less than how it should be. So it's very hard not to feel frustrated and feel bitter. And it's only amplified by the fact that everyone else's health is having breakthroughs. And the girlfriend's gonna be going to all this stuff that I'm gonna be driving her to, and my spouse has specialists finally catching stuff and figuring some stuff out. Um, my therapist got surgery. My brother got surgery. Not on genitalia, but not on their chest, but they all got surgeries done. Even, some of my other relatives and stuff all have had medical stuff just get done. And I have to wait even longer. It will be more than a year by the time I get my surgery. And it's not my fault. And it doesn't matter that it's not my fault. That's still how it is. It's officially been a year since my court order for my name change. And I, I cannot get anyone to just help me finish the thing. I just want it to be that all of my paperwork says my name instead of it being part of my paperwork says my name and part of it says the old name. And it throws people off, and it is such a horrible feeling every time. And I can't get through to a person. I just want to schedule an appointment, and I can't. And they don't have an online scheduling thing for it. The DMV? I want to schedule an appointment to go to the DMV. Online schedule. Just click a time that's available. Congratulations. Show up. Like, I don't know why the Social Security Administration has to be so difficult to do, like, basic things. Like, it's frustrating that they're difficult for submitting to get Social Security or submitting to get, you know, on things like supplemental security, things like that. It's frustrating. It's wrong that they make the whole process so torturous and you have to go through appeals and stuff to even get on it. But even simple, basic things that are not you're asking for money that you should be getting or something like that, just to freaking submit your court order. And my local social security office and the ones around, like, I just need to get through to a person. I'm so sick of making phone calls and it just being like endless. It feels like I'm just calling a phone that they stuck in a closet somewhere so they wouldn't have to listen to it ring. Which is not a great feeling. But on a more positive note, before I didn't get a binder because A, the binder finder program got shut down from the pandemic and stuff, and then B, I thought I was gonna be getting top surgery, like a fool, and because it's gonna be so long still, um, you know, our girlfriend basically was like, "Hey, we can get you a cheapo one, and that way you don't feel like you spent a lot on it, but at the same time, you need to feel better about yourself." And I don't mind. And so she went to do that, and then immediately it was trans group. And at trans group, apparently they're a nonprofit and they can send me one from GC2B. They have a partnership with them or whatever. And so I told our girlfriend, and she's like, "Oh, well, I might not cancel it, so that way you'll have, you know, a cheaper one for when you're doing some stuff, and then the better one for when you're doing other stuff and things." But at the same time, it's like either way or both ways, I have a binder in my future, um, to try to help, because there's just no way around the whole surgery thing. I have no control at all over that. And apparently they're only doing 2 surgeries a week because they're short staffed. It's not that the surgeon wouldn't do more surgeries, it's that they don't have enough staff to be in the operating room, because so many medical staff are burnt out, so they're constantly like sick. And I understand that they've been worked to the bone from the freaking pandemic, and the people who aren't medical professionals are not having respect for the suffering and the sacrifices that the medical professionals are making, like treating the pandemic like a joke, letting them be on the front line and suffer so that people can pretend there's nothing wrong. And it sucks. It really, really sucks. Again, my spouse, both of her siblings are nurses, so it's really terrible, the suffering that they've had to go through because of this pandemic, and because people just don't give a shit about hurting them or any other people. They just don't care. And it's not just hurting the medical professionals, it's also hurting the people who need the medicine. But hopefully the binder will help. They got slightly larger ones than what my size is, so that hopefully it won't compress too tight, to try to avoid any asthmatic issues. Although I have had like almost no asthma issues since I started testosterone. So um, hopefully, like, so obviously it couldn't have been true asthma, um, whatever it was that was giving me issues. But the biggest thing is hopefully it's not so tight that it gives me asthmatic issues again. Um, but hopefully it does something. I mean, at this point, anything's better than nothing, and I appreciate GC2B having a partnership with nonprofits, and I appreciate, them bringing up that they would be happy to submit me for a free one. So for at my trans group, like, that's awesome. Because I've definitely been intimidated about buying one and then regretting it because it caused me to have asthma issues or something. And also not understanding how they size these things. I don't understand at all the sizing stuff. You know, he was basically like, it's gonna be much bigger size than what your actual size is. And I was like, okay. So I'm I guess I'm afraid of how long this is all gonna take. I'm afraid of getting to a point where I don't have a lot of energy and my bones all hurt and, I'm all achy and stuff like that. And those are the only experiences as a man I'll ever have. I already will not have a young man's experiences. And it just feels really, really unlikely that I'll ever have a middle aged man's experiences either. And that feels pretty crappy when the entire time I should have been having male experiences, like literally the whole freaking time. Um, feels like absolute crap. It's pretty damaging having been forced to be raised as a girl when I wasn't, and then it's continuing the damage to be forced to live as an in between androgynous thing when I'm not that either. And I realize that medically I'm closer to that than I ever was to a girl, but it's still not actually what I am. And so it's still horrible. I'm not confused about who I am or what I am, but somehow everything physical is, be it my own body or tangible experiences with other people or just physically interacting with the universe. It's all wrong and it's extremely hard. But I think all trans people feel that way in particular. It just compounds mine because I have physical reasons for it to not be that way and they're not acceptable for some reason. They don't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference. And I don't understand why it's like that. I don't understand why it's so easy for my suffering to be disregarded. But then I don't understand why everyone's suffering is so easy to disregard when people are in real pain. Like people making jokes about stuff that's happening in Ukraine or like laughing about it. And I'm like, people are dying. People are being like harmed. How can you dismiss that? I don't get it. It's just like with the pandemic. People were dying. People still are. China's having a horrible time with it. People want to make it out like there's a scapegoat or something, or there's a person to blame, when in reality the blame is really just people not caring more, like in general. I guess I wish people were more caring. But it's not all bad. It is very, very nice of people about the binder, and I am glad my body's doing whatever my body's doing with the whole recomposition thing. Maybe if my physical shape changes a little more, Um, that'll help alleviate some of my dysphoria and my frustration and my pain. That would be nice. As far as all that, I have felt somewhat depressed ever since I found out about things, but it's not like chronic depression. It's definitely I'm sad and miserable because of a cause, and you know that means it's temporary, which is always a relief with that kind of thing. Um, just sick of all the struggling, but I'm sure anybody with disabilities or with non acceptance or trying to get surgeries as well for any reasons is also sick of that. So it's not like I'm unique in that. I'm more just expressing how I feel. Um, Girlfriend's birthday's coming up, and hopefully she'll have a really good birthday and everything. But my spouse has been feeling sick, so hopefully she recovers in time that we can actually do the birthday stuff, because it's not like cough sick. It's not like pandemic sick. She's taking a medication that giving her side effects, and we were told ahead of time about the side effects. And then on top of that, she's got a kidney stone again. Um, Poor thing. I swear, every time we get like any positive news from her specialist or her doctors or whatever, something else just decides to screw up. And we got some positive information from her specialists and stuff, and that's all like, yay, wonderful. And then something else has to get messed up. It's just like, I feel like sometimes life just indiscriminately, because it doesn't care, just picks certain people to just pile on. And I have another friend who has a lot of health issues, and it's like, you're already gonna be on the lung transplant list. You're already, dealing with all these other things, and then on top of that, at 34, you get shingles. It's like sometimes life just likes slapping certain people around, and it's like everybody's got hardship in their life, but sometimes the nicest people who just literally you can't imagine how there's a God, because there's nothing they've ever done to deserve this, just get treated like crap by life. And life isn't doing it maliciously. The universe has no feelings or emotions about any of this. It's just, congrats, you were the lucky one. So I feel really bad for them. Just, I think people sometimes take it for granted their good health, and they don't think about that the disabled people would do anything to actually have the privilege of not having constant health issues. I feel I feel a struggle from the constant caretaking, but however bad it's for me, it's worse for her because she's the one who has to experience it. And I'm sure it's the same for my friend. You know, the people who look out for him. It's worse for him. He's the one who has to be on an oxygen machine all the time. He's the one who's in non-stop pain and has had so many surgeries that the scar tissue is so thick they can barely ever do a surgery again. Like, some people just have it really bad. And I try to remind myself of that, but sometimes it feels like I have it pretty bad. But I try to focus on the positive things. I try to remember there are positive things, especially when I feel like I'm beating my head against a wall. There are some positive things, and they are touching. They're there. Maybe someday there will be more, or at least more progress.